Hello guys, I'm Aditya and I'll be mediating this session for GD today, and it'll be like a discussion on latest developments on Flutter and our understanding of how we handle certain scenarios and things in Flutter. So I'll be starting off with giving a brief intro about the latest version, which is Flutter 1.2. So it is being called work from home edition of Flutter because there have been a lot of development and documentation itself, and they have introduced many new widgets. But the latest, I mean the more okay, someone's here. Okay, so the latest developments which have been there, the most, I mean, in public opinion, what's being appreciated most is their work on the documentation. It's much more clearer with lots of examples and sample codes and medium documents. So that has been really appreciable from Flutter. So quickly talking about what has been new in Flutter in this release. As like uh, from performance point of view and from widget point of view is that first of all they have introduced some widgets. One of them is interactive widget. So that is one of my favorite widgets. Like you can just have your object or widget, and you can wrap it up with interactive widget, and then what happens is that you can just resize it, and you can control it anywhere in that space where you define the interactive area. And second of all, they have worked on their date ranges. So now through material date picker only you can select a date range, uh, which is a good development on their part, because earlier on we have to search for some third party packages and all, and it looks really nice in this version. Now most of all they have worked on certain performance issues, but from the VS Code point of view, they have introduced uh, they have just embedded all the debug tools in the IDE itself, in the editor itself, so you don't have to look for um, and some kind of JetBrains IDE for monitoring your performance. And rain sliders are also improved. They have introduced new null safety, but most of all, what caught my eye was that they have introduced something called Pigeon. So Pigeon. Uh, we will be discussing in length in this session. Someone's here. So let's start with catching your views on what you think about the new release.
So, like, I haven't been through the updates recently, but what you told me at the documentation,
Yeah.
so that was a concern from like from the starting when Flutter came. But I don't know. Can you be more describable about the documentation and what are the major differences which we can see which were not there before?
So and like suppose previously understanding the constraints, like you can set certain constraints on your container or your box. So those were not there. So they have added a new page for it. There is a new animations landing page. I mean, uh, understanding animations through the documentation of Flutter itself was really tough, right? There was a lot of metrics and everything. Everything was so cluttered in there, and they explained it at length, but it was very tedious. So now they have made it a bit simpler. and desktop support is there in Flutter, but the documentation was not that thorough, so they have improved on that also. And these are all just the major things which are there. So many small things are also added on that part. So yeah. Mm,
I've also heard that now the desktop support has been increased up to Linux as well.
yeah.
So, like, in Twitter, I saw that someone actually made like Metasploit clone for Linux,
No.
and like that was a very good I thought like achievable task. So, if
Oh,
that is possible right now to create such terminally controlled applications from Flutter, then that is a very good thing, right?
yeah, and they have also extended their support for Surface Duos. So I mean, you can actually make a
Yeah.
multi-screen application from there. So that's a huge thing because I don't think Xamarin is having that support right now.
It does not have. But
Yeah.
from the code perspective, do we do any like hard coding, or do we do any change, or does it automatically detect the
And
dual screen mode?
no, I think that still needs to be handled from our side. That is in alpha.
Okay,
And desktop is also
okay,
still in
okay.
alpha. So yeah, most of the things which are there are in alpha. Yeah, but it's good thing that web has moved to beta phase, and I think they will be having a release soon. So yeah, let's. I wanted to demonstrate a code sample for interactive widgets. So uh, I mean that's a really cool thing. Uh, okay, let me share my screen. So have you all tried anything on Flutter new or like any new thing on Flutter?
I was trying to explore how do we like manage the things, like controlling your application from the terminal itself, because that is something which is not Flutter related thing, right? Flutter is meant to create UIs.
Yes.
But now people are doing that. So I was exploring how do we actually do that, and how is the control being like handled properly.
Yeah. So
So
this
if
is
anyone has tried, yeah,
yeah. Please go ahead. So
no,
this is just
that's
a
what I.
wrapper around this. So there is a container. I've wrapped it with an interactive viewer. So it creates a space around that container in which I can just drag it anywhere. So it will be very useful when you play the games related to any gestures, and you can just zoom it and zoom out and apply many gestures over there. This is something very new.
So can interactive viewer be like is a replacement for draggable? Like, is that true?
Yeah, I mean, you can also make draggables from it. It is sort of a super class, but it has many more facilities. Like you can zoom in and zoom out. Like earlier, you have to apply gestures like pinch to zoom and pinch. Those kind of gestures. You need to wrap it with a gesture detector. And if you want more than one gesture to work, then that was a tedious scenario, right? Right now in this interactive viewer, the major highlight is that you can drag your object anywhere in that space, and also you can pinch to zoom and I mean you can pinch for zooming in. You can not only interact with your object, you can also know the exact location of your object in that space. So for that it gives you a type 4 identity matrix. Like for every shift, for every interaction, it provides you with a type 4 identity matrix. And and like from an attribute called value, and from that value you can choose, I mean you can identify where your object is exactly. So I mean I have seen many examples. You can actually make games out of it, and because many people did that on Twitter. So they just made a checkers game and a chess game out of it, and they were just I mean, because you are getting a type 4 identity matrix, you can just know where your object is, so that becomes a lot more easier. And that's a very very good thing, because back in the day, when I think Ruchika made that Tinder swipe, so we didn't actually know, where, when to, if we had, like, I had a use case that I wanted to apply pagination on that, so I didn't really know when to start loading the object, right? I think Nitish, you also worked on that with me, the dating app.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was
So
on a different application. Yeah.
yeah, so that was a like pretty tedious thing back then. So I think interactive viewer solves that problem for us. So yeah, moving on. We have a few more perks from Flutter side. So I mean, now we have an autofill which is supported from Flutter. Earlier it was not there. So earlier you had to manually type in the details every time, but now you have auto suggestions, and you can actually click and autofill the information in the input boxes. So that's a very I mean, it's not a huge thing, but it's good for interactivity. Apart from this, I think yeah, I think that embedding of debug tools in a VS Code, that is also, I mean, that's very good. I felt that now you don't need an IDE for that, so that's a huge thing.
So, like, what is the technical use case for that debugger thing? Because we
Uh,
already have a debugger for VS Code. So is that something different, or is that a
uh,
replacement?
Actually, earlier you have to, like, certain debug tools only worked when you when you turn on your Android Studio, right? Like,
Yeah.
if you want to export the whole uh, performance chart of it, you don't have that facility in VS Code. But now I think they have improved their Flutter plugin there also, so that's a development.
So they added more features
Yeah,
instead of replacing.
yeah, and they have added more debug tools over there. Some certain debug tools are were not there earlier.
So, these debugs, most of the debug tools are already present in the Android Studio IDE, but are they, like, are all of them mapped to VS Code also, or new ones are also present there?
No, no, not new ones, because they can't introduce new ones, right? They can only facilitate what is actually there in Android Studio. They just want to shift from their conventional IDs, because JetBrains IDs are very heavy, right? I mean, they need a minimum of 2 GB of your heap size. So that's why they want to shift to lighter and lighter IDs, which is working good for them, right? Most of us use VS Code, except for me.
Do, do you think that, like in Chrome Dev Tools, you are getting a lot of mini tools inside one single tool itself, right? So, like, there is network tab, session tab. There are a lot of things. So
Yeah,
right now, in any IDE for Flutter, what they do is that they provide different types of tools. So, what
yeah.
don't you think that all of them should be merged into one single tool, and then the tab should be there, something like that, so that the, like,
Actually,
use case wise,
they
it
have
would be
that.
easier to use.
Yeah, so they have facilitated Chrome Dev Tools for that, right? In Chrome, you can export all of that performance. I mean, you can monitor all the performance charts, and you can also export them in form of JSON to actually project them
No,
later
but
on.
that is for web, right?
No,
That
no,
is
I
for
have
web. I'm
no,
talking about for
I
mobile.
have actually recently exported one of my like the one which we are working on. So I actually exported
Hmm.
performance charts for it for the client. So yeah, that works on mobile also. I mean, those are pretty elaborative. But the only issue which I'm facing with DevTools is that uh, there is no proper documentation for it. And also that once you get a performance detail, you don't know how to read it, right? I mean, we are not we are not mathematicians, and we don't know how to read the statistics. So we just most of the things doesn't make sense to us. That's my take on it.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, moving. Shall we move on? Anyone?
If anyone has more questions.
Is anyone has?
I've seen like one of the feature in this new release is like the jank improvement. Has anyone see this improvement there in their app?
I mean, jank in the list view, right? Earlier it was there.
Yeah, yeah. Like I guess that from the 17th version itself, like they're improving on it. Aditya, you're muted.
Okay, who is muting me now? Okay, fine. What I'm saying is that the jank is still there if you will view it on Android, and if I am personally facing this issue again right now because I am having a container which can't be extended more than the screen size. So if you extend it more than the screen size, it either janks or it crashes your application. So it is more like a memory leak issue, which is only there in Android right now. It is fixed in iOS, but it is there in Android.
Like some kind of jump figure that you have shown me when the container becomes greater than the screen size.
No, no. I mean, what I'm talking about is that when you project, I mean, when you make a container, uh, when you make a list item of size more than more than a screen height
Okay.
in an Android, then whole application crashes. So this is something like a performance issue from Flutter itself, because Flutter is not. I think Flutter is not supporting recycler views right now. That I think so.
Is that like causing any kind of crash in your app?
Yeah. So due to this in Android it causes memory leak. In iOS it works fine though, but in Android it causes memory leak and app crashes immediately.
Okay. Like, are you using any kind of like image inside the container?
Yeah, I'm actually using a web view inside the container. So
Okay.
that's I mean we are actually wanting to show the HTML content inside a list view item, but due to the height itself, it is crashing. Yeah. So shall we move on?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I wanted to discuss a very interesting thing which has been introduced in this version of Flutter, which is called pigeons. So it may be very weird to hear, but yeah, this is a very interesting thing. It is a plugin actually, which is built from Build Runner, which is like a code generation facility by a Flutter team. So what you can do is that earlier when we used to make Flutter plugins, right? So what used to happen is that we used to write. What I'm saying is that we have pigeons which are there. So Pigeons is a plugin which has been introduced by Flutter community. So what it does is it facilitates you to write type specific plugins. So earlier we didn't have that facility. So earlier we had to manually match the type which we are passing from our method channels, and in the okay, interesting. So in the Flutter in the platform end, we had to just keep the track of what is passed from our method channel and what we are receiving there. And sometimes in a hurry, programmer, you know, they messed up, and due to that type mismatching, plugins didn't work. So right now you can actually auto generate your code using plugins, using this pigeons. So let me share my screen for a sample code. So this is this is pretty much okay. So this is pretty much all I had to write. So I am writing a search request, I am writing a search reply and a host API. So this is just an extra class. So what after this I had to just implement a command. Okay, let me see the command. So yeah, so this is the command. So if I run this command, then this is I'll have to set the path over there. So what it does is it generates the respective plugin files for me. So when I once run this command, it's actually my plugin is already generated. So what is happening? Okay, so yeah, these are being created. So this is my Pigeon file for it. Uh, yeah. So as you can see, all of this code was not there, but now everything is being created and all of the method channels are created. And I didn't have to write all the platform specific code from my end. So now I don't need to learn Java or Swift or Objective C to write the method channels, right? So that is a very, I mean, you only need to know how to write the extension code for it. You don't need to memorize all the collections in Java, and you don't need to match all the types. That saves you a lot of time. So that I felt pretty interesting.
But does it still require the need for parsing your data using JSON in your Android side?
I'm sorry, what?
Does it still require your like the need to parse your data through JSON? Because whenever we need to pass data through your method channels, we usually pass the data by converting your normal string data to JSON, and then that data is transferred, and then here we like decode it again. That is the usual way for parsing data from method channels, right? So like
No,
for
this is not.
using
This
this,
is
you're doing type checking.
it is providing us actually two things. It is providing us a type check, which is its primary motive. Second, I found its usability in auto generating the code. So what you needed to do earlier was you defined a string which was a function name, and on the other end also you had to define the same string. So if you are having a massive code, yeah, if you are having a massive plugin over massive plugin boilerplate over there, you sometimes used to mess up on small things like maybe a hyphen or maybe uh, you an underscore or something. But now you can't do it. You just have a auto generated code. So those manual mistakes are gone now. I mean, if you will use it, that'll save you a lot of manual checking, and you can't extra conscious you have to be earlier, right, to check if you are making it correctly. Now you don't have to do it.
Okay, and like how do we like you showed the command to generate it. Now, if you have to update it, so is it the same command that we have to do
Yeah,
again?
you will do the same command. Actually, it is like that. The procedure is like that. You make an abstract class, which I showed you, right?
Yeah.
So let me share it again.
This is somewhat similar to build runner, but this is
Yeah, it is a wrapper around build runner. So it is a derived class from build runner. So it auto generates code using build runner. It is a facility which has been recently provided. So this is let's say this is your pigeon dart. So one thing which we needs to be cautious about is that we always keep this class outside lib. So we can define more than one pigeons also. So yeah, here what we do is we have a scaffold somewhat of our requests or whatever queries we want to do with the platform. So we make an whole structure for it. When we make a whole structure for it, then here it defines it auto generates all of this code. You don't need to write all of this code, right? So this pigeon dot dart, which this message dot dart, which we devised over here, it generated three files. So basically this is the first file, which is in Java, which is in Android end. One it generates is in Objective C because it doesn't support Kotlin and Swift yet. And now third, which is like in Dart, it generates this file, which is our main method channel. And yeah, see, it generated all of this message channel for us, and we didn't need to write about. So it is doing basically it is auto generating code for us, and we just needed to write this abstraction. Sorry, this message dot dart. So yeah. So Nitish, to answer your question, you just need to derive this scaffold out of it, and then when your classes are generated, you need to specify over here. No, not here. You need to specify in platform specific code what actually you want to do, because it generates you just hello or hi message. That's it. They are actually working on it. It is, I mean, in their documentation, it is written that this facility is still in alpha.
Okay. So, is there a possibility that it can be used to remove the hard coding which we have to do while sending data from channels?
I mean, even if you want to send data from the channel, you need to specify the parameters, right? That's
Yeah.
what
So,
that's what it is doing. I mean, it is allowing you to set the type of those parameters. Now, when a type is set, you can actually call those methods from your Dart end. And in
okay.
Java, you will automatically get those entities as arguments, right? So you have method dot argument, and in that arguments you have a key value pair, right? So in those key value pairs, you can actually harness those values. Its main work is to type check type check the functions which you are defining. Okay, suppose you want to give only string data string parameters for a function, then you don't need to check it at both the ends that is it actually a string or not. Yeah.
Okay.
So shall we move on, or shall we discuss more on it?
Okay, Aditya, I have one question here.
Mm-hmm.
So already Dart is a tightly coupled language, right? Like all the
Yeah.
typecasting and data type already that is inbuilt here.
Mm-hmm.
So how a Pigeon is helping more here? Like why we need the Pigeon here?
Actually, the thing is that Dart is having there is actually there is a Dart. Dart is a language in itself, but it is actually compiling the code into two different languages, which is for iOS side and Android side. Now the conflict arises when you have to convert the collections, because collections are not same in all the three languages. That's the major issue right now, because in Java, suppose you have things like array list, and you have a heap, and all kind of different collections you have, right? You have yeah, but in Dart you don't have such things. in Dart. And also you have some extra data types, right? You have things like var, you have things like dynamic, but in Java or in Objective C you don't have those kind of things. So you have to specify that you actually when we send a list from our end, in when you specify a method channel and you send a list from your end from the method channel, there it becomes an array list. Then
Yeah.
it doesn't becomes a list, or it doesn't become an array, although it can, that will do the same thing, but it has been mapped to an array list. So you have to be conscious about that, which data type has been mapped to which one. That you have to read the whole documentation and make your own mind out of it. Okay, this thing I'm sending from uh, Dart end, and it'll become like an array list over there, or a hash map over there. Like suppose you have a map over here, that will become a hash map over Java. So same thing you will have to be conscious about in Objective C also, right?
Yeah.
So that, and it saves that it saves us from those problems.
Okay. So
Yeah.
mostly it will help us to write the packages and plugins if I'm not right wrong.
Yeah. So it is for that specific part only. It will facilitate you to write type specific plugins in a much easier way. It will generate most of the boilerplate for you. You just have to apply the logic for it.
Okay.
Also for any communication between Android and Flutter, right? Even though if you're not using packages,
Yeah, but
then
I haven't
there it will
tried that
also
actually. I mean, I didn't try it until now. So, has anyone
means
done?
right now we currently have a limitation that if we have to use the Android part or the iOS part specifically
Mhm.
and transfer data to one or the other, we have to like manually type check everything, and then that actually becomes a limitation because we cannot do that for huge amounts of data. So
Yeah,
now with using this, it might be easier, even though it is not advisable to pass lot of data from
yeah.
Android to Flutter, but still it is now possible to do it.
I haven't tried it, but yeah. I mean, in this example which I tried, I was actually doing that, so that was happening, but I haven't tested its feasibility in a actual project, so I can't say that.
I have another question.
Yeah.
Can we also bring in like UI components from the native side inside Flutter?
Yeah, that is there. So you can bring in the native components from there, but then you have to communicate through method channels itself. So it will not be like you will have to define an XML file there, and you will have to define all the life cycle methods over there. So you'll have to actually make a fragment or an activity over there. You have to define on create methods. You have to mount that XML file on the on create, and there you have to perform all the operations. Now the only way you can communicate with your tool or with your XML file is through method channels. So and that those kind of things are actually implemented. If you will see an image cropper plugin. So in that plugin, it uses an image cropper from the native side itself. So it somewhat uses the XML code from there only, but you will see that interaction is pretty slow. So there is some. I think they are now using something called. They are now using it in NDK. So they are writing code in C and C++, and they are parsing it using binaries. So now those things, and I mean, they are improving their plugins using this
Okay.
method itself.
So, last time when I checked, I think the native thing used to load on top of the entire Flutter, this thing, the canvas.
Yeah,
So Flutter's
yeah,
canvas is something like OpenGL, that's like pixel by pixel writing.
yeah,
So if we had like two different widgets on top of each other, we couldn't load anything in between those two layers because it was one single canvas where Flutter
yes.
was painting things. So like is it a possibility now that we can mix and match like Flutter widgets and the native UI widgets, or is it does it still load on top of the existing Flutter canvas?
I think we can mix and match because right now in the current project I'm using in-app web view. I'm actually not 100% sure about it, but I think it does that because it is using in-app web view from respective Android and iOS, which is their uh, native widgets, and it is embedding it in your regular Flutter UI, and you can actually box it in a container and actually fix its size, and actually you can mount all the content on it and actually manipulate it from Flutter end.
Okay.
So
Makes sense.
I
I
think
think that there's some kind of mirroring that they are doing, like they are rendering the
yes,
actual component at a different hidden layer, and then they are
yes.
reading every pixel of that and then trying to paint it on top of Flutter's canvas.
Yeah, because I think yeah, and this is causing performance issues also because it is actually not supporting things like fragments and headless activities, which will be better. I mean, it is not even supporting the recycler view. So those things are causing major memory leaks because if you are pushing one layer on top of other, and if you are running both the layers simultaneously by reading all the pixel points, so that is causing all I mean a major CPU override.
Makes sense. And I think even Google Maps is built using the same philosophy. I'm not sure
Yeah.
about it, but they
Yeah,
were trying to do something like that.
yeah,
Uh,
exactly. Google Maps are using the Flutter embedded views.
Okay. And how's the performance of Google Maps? Is it okay?
Yeah,
Sure.
it's okay, okay. It's not like very smooth or like very bad.
Okay. So
Yeah,
it uses the native Google Maps widget on both the platforms. It's not rebuilt inside that. Yes.
yes, exactly.
Okay. Okay. Makes sense.
and they are also keen on converting everything in Flutter. Like they have something called Flutter Fragments. I haven't actually worked on them, but it seems like they want to wrap things in Flutter and I mean wrap the native fragments in Flutter, but that is not making much of a difference. And I mean the documentation is also not pretty. I mean it is not adequate.
But
So
I think the going other way would be easier for Google or any third party, because we can build things inside Flutter and then
yeah.
like use it inside native layer. That would be easier compared to doing it the other way.
Actually, I think they are trying to do that, right? They are enabling the NDK facilities for us, so we can actually write our C++ and C code and compile it. But again, the documentation is not that good for that. Also, I mean, it's not adequate. It's in the process.
But Flutter is booming right now.
Yeah, it's booming. I mean, it's trending actually.
Yeah, even like Google Pay is completely converted into Flutter, I think.
Yeah.
And even eBay is being rewritten, right? eBay is also eBay is also launching their platform in Flutter, so that's a huge shift, I think.
So I have a question, like just one confirmation. That does mean that now converting an Android application to a Flutter application is much more easier. That we don't like if any person has to like convert his complete Android to Flutter. So even though there would be performance issues, but he can technically do it in a week maybe without actually uh, going inside the Flutter code, but just using the embeddings.
Yeah,
Is that
actually,
possible?
I, I don't. I mean, it depends upon the use case, right? It depends upon what kind of app you are trying to convert. It depends upon the simplicity of your application, because I think if you will not go on the very fancy things, most of the basic things are implemented in Flutter. If I mean Flutter gives you facility for most of the basic tasks. So if you are having an application which is more of like a simple but performant application, you can go for for converting your application actually in Flutter. If you want more of an interactivity, I mean things like if you want to go for a lot of animations in every inch, then I think that will be an issue, because Flutter supports micro animations, but those are only for the objects or widgets which are actually there. It's not supported for the things which are facilitated natively, right? And still, background processes are a problem. So, I mean, background, you can't run anything in the background still after 1.2. So that is something which Flutter needs to work on, because I have read 2 or 3 articles where developers are actually using method channels to run things in the background. So if developers can do it themselves, then I think Google can also facilitate something, right, to run a service in the background. There have been two
Is
or
that the
three
right thing to
instances.
do?
Yeah, and there have been 2 or 3 instances, and people have posted articles online. So yeah, okay. So shall we move on to the other
I have a
topic?
question about animations in Flutter.
Yeah, please.
So nowadays, the refresh rate of most of the mobile devices is going past 90 hertz till
Mhm.
120 hertz. Does Flutter
Mhm.
support that much refresh rate in mobile animations?
See, human eyes are equipped for only 24 or I mean 24 frames per second, I think, if I can remember. So I mean, if you and Flutter supports 60 hertz, 60 FPS.
Okay.
So I think uh, if that would have been the case, then I mean Flutter would have not been trending.
I guess like what I see the official documentation on the animation there. So it says that it supports smoothly up to 60 FPS, but it can go up to 120 also. So even like if your app refreshes 90 hertz per second, so it can manage it.
We shall move on to the next topic, which is state management. So that's also a hot topic, right? So do anyone wants to share any views on how to manage on how they are managing their state in the recent projects?
Who are managing?
I mean, anyone here who is keen on sharing the approach, and what should be an ideal approach for state management, right? This has been a controversy ever since Flutter has begun, or I think even before that.
I don't think there's a one short solution for state management. Depends on use cases and depends on your complexity of the application. And it makes no sense to use like a complete overlay of a boilerplate of block for just a 2D application. You can do it with just small things like scope model can be used there. So it depends on the use case. You don't have to over engineer things just because that particular state management is better. Depends on use cases. I think so.
But actually, I'm like in the recent projects I've been looking that people are actually writing wrappers for the state management site. If you are using a provider, then you are writing a wrapper around it for yours. I mean, for your facility. I mean, and if you are suppose using Flutter block, then you are writing a wrapper around it. So these kind of things people are doing. So that is making it more and more interesting to know that who is using which approach, right?
For example, right now in Flutter block,
Mhm.
there was a different state management called qubit. So what Felix Angelov actually merged the qubit inside the Flutter block itself. Now they like two different state management, though even though they are very much similar, residing to one. You can use both of them with the same package itself. So like that is also one approach to merge different things rather than increasing more number of state managements. Merging so that same thing what it did was with provider. Provider was actually a merging of two different state management and what do you call that? Get it thing like a singleton approach. So that was a combination of those two things. Like in the future, that it would be a better thing if more things are combined to one rather than creating more and more number of branches.
Nice.
What is your opinion on that?
So, yeah, but actually, that is not enhancing your performance, right? That is only adding to the boilerplate, which is already there. So I think the main question is that do we do we need to trade off the performance uh, from readability just because it is more manageable? I mean, if you are
You mean to say that some state management has better performance than the other? Is that what you're
no,
saying?
actually, if you are having a state management, right, and you are writing a wrapper around it, then you are using a lot of generics, right? You are not being type specific every time. What I have seen. So that way you are somewhat trading off the performance rate. And if you are making a very big application, then every bit of your memory counts. Any views on it?
So I'm not well versed with many state management. Else show me again.
Okay. So moving on, I would like to know what are anyone use did anyone use Flutter hooks as of now? Anyone is using them actively? Anyone who wants to?
I was trying to like explore Flutter, but in one of the articles which I saw was that like Redux is a very good approach for React. So, but in a like many people actually suggest that even though Redux is good for React, but Redux is not good for Flutter. So similarly, even though Flutter hooks they're available for Flutter, it's not a good approach for Flutter because of the architecture. I have not gotten into the details that why is it not good, and even if it is good or not. So like that actually stopped me from exploring it. I don't know if I should more. If anyone has like I don't have the React experience or the hooks experience. If any has anything on that, they should be better if one should or not.
Yeah, if anyone has used Flutter hooks, then I would like to know more about it.
I think it's still something to explore for everyone. Another question was like, can we use functions over classes to build widgets?
Yeah.
We can.
Yes. But there is one trade-off in that. You can actually stop your widgets from building if it is a stateless or stateful widget, which only comes when you are creating via classes. But when you're using functions, then you don't have that particular control that you can stop that particular widget from rebuilding. It will always rebuild. Those function will always be called. That is one drawback. Even though you can.
Okay. So it's more like a stateless widget.
Even you can stop a stateless widget from rebuilding.
Okay, I didn't know that. Okay, makes sense. Yeah. Okay, and with the use of hooks, we can do those things. Like with the use of hooks, we can stop or maybe re-render a particular widget in React. I'm not sure if that happens yet. So yeah, without hooks, it's not possible. It was not possible in React either before hooks was announced.
Okay.
Okay.
This is an ongoing discussion on Reddit as well. Like, is do we use widgets as functions or not? Is it a good approach or not? Like
Okay.
from a React perspective, because that is from a functional paradigm, that would be a very good thing because that will be very much familiar. But from that person, like in my personal opinion, it is not because of the reason I mentioned. Apart from that, if you don't have the concern of rebuilding, it is a very good approach. You can use it.
Okay, makes sense. Yeah, that answers my question, I guess. Then.
Yeah. So
Also, I guess there is one more new state management, Riverpod. Anyone used it yet?
yeah, that is actually again one state management which is supported by Google, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't use it, but I've heard a lot about it.
Yeah, I think it's from the same the developers as from the providers.
Yeah, and people are actually saying that it is better than Block.
Yeah, and also the provider. I think it resolves most of the issues which are occurring in providers.
I think we should try it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, anyone else who wants to share something new or informative?
I just want to discuss about like the state management technique that I see like in many of our projects. So what I see is like generally people makes the data models of that, and at the top of the main class, like from where our material widget started, at that point also, that point only, they declare all that models, like direct way or in the lazy loading way. So do you think like that is correct way to do so? I like mostly seen like when the people uses provider for inheriting their data models there.
You're talking about singletons?
Not about the singleton. Means like let's suppose you have like 5 to 10 data models in your projects there, and you just declare all the data models at the starting point of your app, like what Redux says and what like provider also says that. Is that a good approach to move on?
In multi-providers, right? You are saying.
Yeah.
So
Ritika,
those
I
are
guess we have.
those are an extension of singletons, right? Right, Ruchika?
Yeah, Aditya, can you repeat?
Yeah, please, Shubham, go ahead.
What I'm saying is like Ruchika, like let's suppose in the project we have 5 to 10 models there, data models there. So
Yeah.
is there a good approach to like declare all that models at the entry point of the app? Just like just below the material app started, just declare this so that like they can easily available throughout the project. Like what I'm seeing, like mostly the people like who use multi-provider there, they do in the same fashion.
Yeah, so either you will declare it via multi-provider or via singleton. It's like that you are creating that instance of all the model while initiating your app, right? You can do either of the way, but yeah, that depends how you are using the model all over the app. If you want a single instance, then yeah, I suggest that it's better like if you'll be initiating at one time while initiating the app and use the same instance wherever you want. So I don't feel anything wrong in that actually.
But you don't think like it's just do some startup issue there, because like you are initializing all data models at the entry point of the app. It's like just at when the app started, it have to like load all the data models there itself, which may be used at like some other point of time.
Yeah, but I don't think it hampers our initialization time actually. It's like a case that we are just creating one instance of that particular model in our local storage or wherever the instance is getting created, but how it is affecting the initiation of our app.
It's take time because like anyway like you are creating an instance, and instance creation is a time taking process there.
Yeah,
And
so
also like
let me give you one example. So actually, we are building one complex app currently. The same app is like a mixture of 11 different apps, and for each different app, all the instance like block model, whatever we are using, we are creating the instance at a entry level only. Nitish, Aditya, like mark me if I'm wrong. So in that, like we are creating several models for each of the blocks and model, whatever using all over the app. And I don't think it is hampering anything in while initiating the app. It's nothing like that. We can use that.
but like if you like just declare at the starting point of your app, doesn't like your main root widget become very happy there? Because like since like whenever like screen is routing and pushing there, the it's not actually pushing the main your parent widget. It's only
Yeah.
like routing your the underneath page there. So whatever the models you have declared at the starting point will be still there at the entry point. So it's kind of like the root widget, the top root element, or you can say a widget, become very happy with the all the
I
instance
think
and all the models you have
I
instance.
think Shubham, what happens is that it maintains state of I mean it maintains a singleton for every model,
Yeah.
and it keeps those models in the memory heap. and performance is only hampered by the content which is being rendered, right? Because everything else is in heap, and now you have easily like 4 to 6 GBs of memories. I mean, 4 to 6 GBs of RAM you have, right, in your mobile phones. So I don't think that will be an issue. Uh, I actually think that making all the data model instances and maintaining their states from the very top level, right? So we are actually what we are actually doing it is we are using the model for the state for the widget which is being currently rendered. We are not using all the models at once, and we are not manipulating the data for all the models, right? So I don't think if you are rendering a limited amount of UI components, then I guess, and if you are processing a limited amount of data in one go, then I don't think performance will be hindered.
Yeah, and also I think it depends on your use case also. Like if there is like particular service which is going to use in a complete app, then you have to like initialize it in the starting only. But if there is something like which is going to be used after like 4 to 5 screen, then it's like not necessary to make the instance in the starting of the app only.
From like if you really want to achieve a particular feature in which you technically declare the instances, but it is not declared in the root, and whenever it is being used in the upcoming pages, it will be declared automatically. So this particular feature is being used in the package called Get It. What they do is like they actually, from the code perspective, they actually declare everything at the start of the application, but it is not declared until it is being called in any of the pages. So that is something very good. Like even if you consider, like even though the jank is not there, even the load time is not there, if you declare everything at the root, but even if you don't want that, you can still use the approach of get it, where they do whatever what is it.
And I think like provider is also thing. I think use lazily builders.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they are using lazily builders, and like Get It is a very good facility. I can say that because I've used it in one project, and it worked like a charm. I didn't need to use any providers or any singleton state management. I just used Get It to maintain all my models over there, and it worked very well.
Yeah. What I feel is like, okay, so creating the instance table like goes on the heap memory, but like when it becomes the part of the widget, like in case if you're using some multi-provider there, you are actually passing to a part of the widget there. So it will like you can say that it will become the part of the like your main top widget there. It not.
But the contents are not being rendered, right? And multi-provider is just like a collection of I mean collection which is being used for maintaining the singletons. Those models are not activated yet, and if activated, then those models are not being rendered yet, right? I really don't know the mechanics of it, but and this is what I'm speculating. Because we have used providers in almost like 5 or 10 of our applications, right, Suchika? And
Yeah.
we have never experienced a performance issue due to singletons. So yeah.
I had like one thing to discuss, like considering the fact that we have multiple things to handle in an application. There is singleton handling, there is state management handling, then there is uh, localization languages that also you have to handle. Then if the particular app has reactive state management, then we have to use stream controls and all of those things. So these are very like wide approaches. We have to use it separately. So like what Get It actually has updated their package and introduced a new one called GetX. So what GetX does is it provides you reactive state management, reactive state manager as well with local theme handling with localization and singleton all inside one package itself. So like, is it a good idea to use one package for everything, because it will provide a stable feature for everything? Right now it is in stable condition. So like, is it a good idea to use that? It also provided you services features, and you can now actually create custom widgets through your state manager. So your a lot of work has been reduced if you use GetX.
I think we should try it.
Yeah, again, I think it depends on your use case.
Yeah, in general also, I think we can maintain our services, right? Mostly our SQLite services or those kind of things.
Yeah, but I think like if we are using provider which already provides you like dependency injections and all, so why to use like another package to just to
Because
No,
boilerplate is reduced, right?
the boilerplate is reduced, and also like it does not only provides these two features, it provides more than those things. So it actually reduces a lot of dependencies on different packages also.
And also like it's like provider, the way like the provider do the dependency injection is only like to that particular widget tree. Just like if the widget tree has changed, just like if you have routed to a different widget tree and new route is created, then this dependency which you have created in that will be lost there. So in that case, get it will help you. That's why like just like in the provider, they suggest like to you like declare your model at the top of the widget tree, so that it can easily be available to all whether you
Like,
route or not.
yeah, I've actually shared a list of things which GetX usually provides by default. Like, these are a lot of things already handled for you. So that is like one of the main features which I wanted to highlight about GetX. Like, if even if you don't want to, at least try once, that this is a very good thing. If you like, if you want to handle routes, so people like prefer the default ones or Flutter. These are two different approaches. Like, one thing can solve everything here. So like, this is something I think that it might help. Not done. Okay.
These are a lot of things, right?
Yeah. Actually, I might
Yeah.
use this thing actually. And Nitish, what I felt, it's like a just a wrapper over all this thing that they have handled internally in one tightly coupled visit. Okay, so whatever you have to use, you have to pass as a parameter to the main visit, right? Like you have to pass your route, you have to pass your localization string, just and everything you have to pass through the material visits only. It's just a wrapper over the material where you can directly pass the parameter, and that particular visit will perform everything for you. You don't have to do the settings like in the initial stage that what we do, right? So
Yeah, so the main concept behind this is that why is iOS performance more faster as compared to Android? Because for iOS everything is tied down for that particular one thing, and everything is built around that one thing. But for Android everything is decoupled, and we have to like come together different services, and just to make that Android faster. That is an advantage of using one thing for everything. The similar thing is here. If you use different packages, then the control is a little complex, and the performance is, I don't know if it will be different or not. But if you use only one thing, like if we actually see the dependencies of GetX, they actually don't use any like Flutter block or provider packages itself. They use a maximum 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 packages in total. So what they do is there is the different package called get instance, get core, get navigation, get rx, get state manager. So these are a few their own interdependencies. So what they does provide is that one solution for everything, because it is only built for that particular purpose, right?
yeah, but like suppose if you want to do any customization with your flow, yeah, localization or anything that you want to customize in your own app, like for yourself, that should be different. So it will not help, this package will not help you there. It will be like a headache for you to go and change everything inside the package and then use. because I have used this exactly same package in one of my projects because I wanted this functionality to be like I don't have to take care of this should be taken care handle. But what I felt after certain time, like I had to do like the change theme or change local translation, whatever you are doing, we don't need any external package to do so, right? Already we have the translation, already we have those pages, and we can do the settings, and internally they are also doing the same thing. Okay, but whenever it comes to like more customization to your like depend on your app flow or what you want to do, it will not you don't have a hold on it. You have to go internally the package and you have to do everything on your own. So it's a headache there. For the simple application where this is you want like a basic application you want without any strange or customized or different behaviors, then you can use. Okay, but I will not prefer this like in heavily application that we are using, not with Omega only, like whatever highly apps that we are building with extreme features. This will not help you to build all the feature at once. It will like give you a headache like controlling everything within a one wrapper.
But again, it'll give us a facility for version maintenance, right? Because right now, if you use many packages in a project, then there is always a possibility of version conflicts in more than one projects. So it'll just
So whatever package they are using, those are closely tightly coupled with Flutter version. Okay. So if the Flutter version or the Dart SDK will increase their version, this package will automatically get upgrade. This depend on the what Flutter you are using, right? Because
yes.
go with the translation thing or go with the local thing, go with your what I can see theme. These are the closely tightly coupled with Flutter. So if Flutter will like upgrade their version, this has to be upgrade if they will change something in these SDKs, right? So internally, this package also have to go and they have to change the thing, and we have to upgrade this package in our app. So basically, we are doing the same thing. Okay, we are just ignoring one hurdles, but these are the normal thing. If Flutter will upgrade, these are the common tightly coupled package. This will upgrade.
Yeah, but we don't have to maintain versions for more than one packages, right? I mean, these are providing many facilities for more than one packages into one package.
Yeah.
So if like you like suppose you don't use this package and you use some other package and two or three of them, and suppose in version change you have a dependency conflict, right? So
Yeah.
those kind of things can be. I mean, those are very far-fetched ideas,
Yeah.
but just to state any positives for it.
Yeah, that depends. Yeah, you can use I'm not against of this package, but like it's not giving me hand to like do whatever I want within my app. I have to go and I have to study this package to change like small fix as well. So because of that, I okay, you can try that out, go with some complex applications, and then we can discuss on over that.
Yeah, I know. I think I totally trust your. I mean, you have tried it a lot, right? So I guess anyone else, if anyone else is having doubts or any points to discuss, then
Yeah,
yeah.
actually want to like since like the Flutter block is very new to us, like we're still like exploring there. I guess like in the Ruchika Omega we have used completed this Flutter block there. So after using it by 2 or 3 months, what you think like what is the best practice to like follow this? Because I see in the official documentation there are like the many ways to like make the boilerplates and the many ways to do the state management thing. So what should be the actually the correct way to like follow the Flutter process? Are you go for
Depends
the
on the
simple qubit thing or you just go for the plain stream controllers?
Depends on the use cases, I think, because for me personally, the best approach is to initialize the instances using Reddit and use that particular instance everywhere where we use it. And instead of making instances using block provided, use it just using Reddit and then use your normal block consumer or block builder and listener to change your UIs. That is like one approach, like which I feel. And if you want to reduce your code, the boilerplate from the block part, where you create your events and states, there you can actually use qubit, and the difference is not that much, just the boilerplate is reduced. So like if you want to reduce a boilerplate, then use qubit. Otherwise, if the application has gotten so complex that you have to maintain everything, then qubit is not the right solution, because then the boilerplate actually helps in understanding the code better.
Just like I also like want to like explore like what should be like data control part means. Is like for the each status, do we need to make a qubit there, or we can make some kind of enum or classes there where based on the status change we can update our block builder there. Just like what kind of like services you guys are using in the Omega. Hello.
Yeah. So in Omega, we are not using qubits at all right now. We are just using a normal block structure, and in that the states are handled via classes and not via enums, and even the events are handled via classes. And there we use a concept for inheritance to differentiate between each class structure. So that actually helps. And right now it does not make sense to transfer it to qubit, because then the control will be lost, as qubit has a lot of mixing of states because there the boilerplate has been reduced. So that is something, a drawback of qubit, even though they has a lesser boilerplate. Other than that, Ruchika has worked more than me, and so she can also highlight more points there.
Ruchika, you want to add something?
Okay, so in qubit thing, right?
Yeah.
So the first thing I want ki, if you are doing any project, it's let's avoid the complexity. Okay, if you don't need that complex architecture or that structure, we should not follow that. So Shubham, although Omega is a very complex app, but the architecture, like we try to keep the architecture as simple as possible. Whatever packages we are using, we are directly using that the boilerplate of that package. We are not creating our own boilerplate with via enum or something to handle those things. So in Omega also, we are, like simply we are using block with state and event, like we are calling it from classes, and we are manipulating UIs according to the block builders and block listeners. So we are not using qubit actually.
So it's like for the each event you have created some kind of UI there which will updates.
Event is like calling, like event is a trigger point. You can perform any action via event, and state is the UI triggers. Like we have to listen to the state, and according to that, we are rendering the UIs. Okay. So in the UI part, yeah, we are using the different state to handle the UI. Whatever the state is that, we are showing UI accordingly.
So are you guys like planning for making any boilerplate for the same?
No, because the Flutter block itself, like the documentation itself is very simple, and we wanted to stick on that. We didn't wanted to use any boilerplate for that. So simple use case that you will be seeing on a Flutter block example all over the Omega, we are using that only. We don't have any like own boilerplate for Omega.
Yeah, I see like it's like there are like different approaches there. Like in some case like they're using some native qubits implementation. In some case they are using some simple stream control, and based on the event they are updating the UIs there.
Yeah. So, and like as I told you, block in blog you can handle everything via stream because that was the prime concern. And after that, the same thing got transferred into event and state. So event and state flow is just a wrapper over the stream builder part. Like you don't have to define the streams. The Flutter block itself will do that. Just you have to trigger the event, and the boilerplate will do all the things for you. So that depends, like what you want to do. Again, that on the requirement. So if you are doing a normal API calls and those flow, then event and state will be great to you. But if you are trying to achieve any animation, or you are using any poll or any WebSocket condition in your app, then you can go via stream builder as well. So that depends on architecture, what exactly you are following, what the use case is there. Okay, so Aditya, I guess we are done.
Yeah, I think
yeah.
we can conclude this session for today, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you very much for joining today. Yeah, thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Yeah, thank you everyone. Bye bye.
Thank you, Aditya.
Bye.